Okay, we're going to talk about the situation regarding Boris Johnson and Downing Street. And the first thing I am going to say to you, and it doesn't just apply to you, but I've spent quite a long time, last couple of weeks, trying to get hold of uh, all the MPs that represent constituencies on the Yorkshire coast, of which you are one. Obviously, they're all Conservatives as well, but I haven't managed to get any of them to talk to me. So at that point in time, why weren't you able to do that? I mean, if the reason I'm asking that is because it's one of those times when people really want to hear what their MP thinks.
Yeah, I mean, John, I always make myself available to you. And you asked me, and this is a very busy world we live in here. And but I think you'll agree that whenever you ask me to come on your show to speak to your listeners, I absolutely put everything down to do that, because it's very important. The constituents are very important to me. That when you asked me, it was only one day. You weren't contacting me for 2 or 3 weeks. You contacted me one day to say, "Can you come on the program?" Like in the next hour or something. I was busy. I was tied up. I couldn't do it. I've made my position on the Prime Minister very clear. Nothing had changed since I'd put out previous statements on it, is that we need to see all the evidence before we can make a decision. To me, if the media keep asking the same question time and time again, don't expect to get a different answer, or probably now and again, members of Parliament will think, well, what's the point in giving the same answer? Because I can't tell you anything right now, because the situation largely has not changed since this crisis started.
The thing is, I'm going to disagree with you there, Kevin. I think it has changed. And it's not just the media that are asking the same questions over and over again. It's some of your own MPs. I was watching Parliament the other day, and, they were asking the same questions, and your leader was giving the same answer verbatim over and over and over again. And it felt like he was not answering any questions. I mean, I'm going to get right to the point here. Are you supporting him?
Yes, I am, because people in this country are innocent until proven guilty. The only thing we know about the Prime Minister so far, how he's breached guidelines, which is, in many would consider it a technical breach, or not even a breach. But nevertheless, I can understand why some people feel it wasn't within the spirit of the guidelines. I think that's fair to say. The only thing we know is he went outside his own garden for 25 minutes, where some work colleagues were stood in the garden. Okay, they were drinking, but that was not against the rules, and eating cheese or whatever else, but that wasn't against the rules. And he attended his own cutting of his birthday cake, I think, for 10 minutes in his workplace. So that's what we know. Now, you could easily say, well, that shouldn't have happened. And I think he said that. But what you've got to ask yourself is, does that merit the resignation of a Prime Minister? I don't think it does now. You may think it does, and other constituents may think it does, and the media may think it does, and the opposition will, of course, think it does. At the moment, I don't think it does. That's my judgment. Now, if this situation develops, of course, and there's something more serious than that, an actual party where invited people from outside the workplace to come in, relatives or whatever, friends or whatever else, or the fact he has misled Parliament, then that's a completely different issue. But that's not what he's been proven guilty of so far.
There are two things there. One of them is, you just said, your constituents might think that he should go, blah, blah, blah. They've elected you to act on their behalf, surely. So your job is to represent them.
Of course. They don't speak with one voice, though, John. When I back in Thirst, Malton, Filey, as I was last weekend, and I spoke to the people I spoke to, I didn't go to talk to them about Boris Johnson. These were activists. These are people in the street, people I spoke to, local businesses. I went in and spoke to them. I said, what do you think? Every single one I spoke to on that Saturday, every single one said the Prime Minister shouldn't resign. Now, I'm not saying that's a representative sample. I'm not saying that is an opinion poll. I'm just saying for you to anybody else to imply every single person thinks Boris Johnson should resign is not accurate. This is clearly lots of people on the fence, including my colleagues. You talk about my colleagues. I think it's a small minority so far have come out and said that the Prime Minister should resign. I think there may be 8 or 9 people, I think, at last count. There are 360 of us in here. So at the moment, the general mood, in my view, is the Prime Minister should be able to we should at least be able to see what the Prime Minister has been found guilty of, and this should not be conducted. This judgment should not be made by an opposition or a media lynch mob.
Well, it seems to me that one thing we do know, and so we're only talking about half the story at the moment, and the other half of the story is he has lied at the dispatch box to Parliament, because the report that's just come out has found him at things that he categorically denied being at. There is no question that at some point that has happened. Surely, am I wrong?
That's just not true, John. That's just not true. I mean, if you're going to tell me workplaces around this country when somebody's birthday didn't have a birthday cake, and that is having a piece of cake was not against the rules. Having a glass of wine was not against the rules. If the Prime Minister outside for 25 minutes in a workplace, in a garden of a workplace, did that really break the rules? We certainly, as I say, brought the spirit of the rules. But I think when the Prime Minister said at the dispatch box that no rules are broken, I don't think he was misleading Parliament at that time. Now, if he knew that was going to be a party, for example, if he responded to an email or a WhatsApp message or something and said, bring your own booze to this event, or he had an event in his flat with people drawn in from outside the workplace of number 10, something like that, his sister or his brothers, that's a whole different ballgame. At the moment, I do not feel the Prime Minister's breached the regulations to an extent anyway that it merits a resignation. And I do not feel it's been proven he's misled Parliament.
At least one senior Tory MP that we know about has come out and said that he's writing a letter of no confidence in the Prime Minister. And the reason for that is he thinks it's not fair to ask MPs like yourself to have to defend all this stuff to, well, to the media, but more importantly, to your constituents. Do you not agree with that?
No, well, clearly I don't. I mean, it might surprise you, John, but we're all independent thinkers in this place. We've all had our views. We've all had previous experiences before coming in here. I ran a business for 30 years. I don't come in here to suck up to the Prime Minister. I'm here to try and do a good job for my constituents. I have nothing to lose by calling for the Prime Minister's resignation. I don't have a ministerial job to lose. I'm a backbencher. I'm an independent thinker. I've voted against the government before, twice in the last few weeks. So if I thought it was right to call for the Prime Minister's resignation, I absolutely would. Now, that person you quote, I don't know who you're quoting, but has a perfect right to
Elias Elwood. Tobias Elwood,
yeah,
I beg your pardon.
Yeah, but he's got a perfect right to say that, of course. But that's his independent judgment. My independent judgment is different.